throughout the PTT period, I wanted to try and create an environment in which students could comfortably engage in debate, discussion, and dialogue. And I think that approach really helped to promote the idea of a student-centered learning environment. And for my role as learning facilitator, I tried as much as possible not to be too hands-on, but there were times when it was necessary. But for most of the PTT contact days, my role was to guide the learning, give hints and suggestions if and when necessary. And I particularly avoided trying to say things like, well, that's not right, that's wrong, or that's good, or that's bad. And I kind of tried to leave it up to the students to interpret their knowledge and skills in ways in which is meaningful to them, because although all of the students had the same objectives set to them, everyone interpreted it in a different way and had a different understanding of the objectives and what was expected. And away from the contact days, students had quite a lot of time to develop their ideas. So again, when they came back to the contact days, in the assessment of the learning and competencies, what I was looking for were signs that students were able to make connections between concepts, ideas, theoretical knowledge, and input those ideas into their practical skill. So what I was looking for was like a matchup of between know how and know what. But I think that anyone who's involved in creative pursuits, whether as a student or professionally, are already involved in the ideas of social constructive learning and experiential learning. It's just almost exists by default. But what I was looking for from the students was that they were not consciously engaged in those processes, but that those processes were taking place in the learning process, and also that they were competent in those areas at the time of the assessments. All of the assessments were mostly verbal assessments in group discussion, one-to-one tutorials, and also the cognitive skills, because of the process in which creative studies takes, particularly the amount of time. There's a lot of thinking involved, but for the sake of the PTT, the thinking had to be very quick. Quite a few decisions had to be made quite quickly. So I think, again, the idea of increasing the cognitive brain kind of exists by default in creative pursuits also.